From distant siblings to a deep bond, we grew close only for my sister to return to a toxic ex. Now, Aita left feeling lost and hurt. My older sister Cass, 28, and I, 21, female, have not been particularly close throughout our lives, except for a time in our early childhood that I do not fully remember due to my age then. Additionally, the complexities of having different fathers and an age gap contributed to our distance. However, since I turned 16, we have been attempting to bond more, a process that has proven challenging because of the age difference. She had her own activities to manage while I was busy with high school, which meant we seldom spent time together. As time passed, we discovered that we shared many similarities in our tastes in music, personality, and humor. This realization allowed us to form a closer relationship, which was pleasant. I never anticipated anything beyond that bond as I was accustomed to maintaining a certain distance. Fast forward a few years, and at ages 18 or 19, she began dating a guy named X. Unfortunately, the connection we had cultivated quickly faded. She was constantly with him, virtually living at his house and spending all her time with him. I brought it up with our mother, who advised me to be patient as it was likely just a phase of infatuation. I accepted her advice, thinking I had my own matters to focus on anyway. I noticed Cass frequently posting about outings with X and his sisters doing activities I would have genuinely appreciated. A part of me felt sad, as if I were not deemed worthy of joining them. They were not visiting bars or anywhere inappropriate, so it made sense that I could not attend. Eventually, I expressed my feelings to Cass. She listened and acknowledged my concerns, promising to include me more. She did extend one invitation, but that was the extent of it, so I decided to stop pursuing it. As time progressed, Cass found herself embroiled in frequent, intense arguments with X. The negativity escalated to the point where I could hear her shouting from my room as they fought. It became increasingly evident how toxic their relationship had grown. For the last 2 years, I have watched her descend into a cycle of alcohol, drugs, anger, sadness, betrayal, and depression, all stemming from X. I witnessed episodes of her drunk driving, sobbing to him, then lashing out at him, and even yelling at our mother with the most absurd comments simply because she felt dismissed by X again. Much of her disruptive behavior was due to X being an adept manipulator. I observed it firsthand. He would make her feel as if she were losing her mind when he would go out to bars with girls who clearly had no interest in her. Even when Cass expressed her discomfort, he dismissed her concerns by claiming they were just childhood friends. He would manipulate her feelings, twisting her insecurities around, making her feel as if she were irrational. Each time I heard about it, I was left in disbelief, and I pride myself on being straightforward when I see reality for what it is. I will admit, at one point, I said some harsh things, which led Cass to feel uncomfortable discussing her relationship around me. Consequently, she and our mother would stop talking as soon as I entered the room. This behavior persisted for months, and I found it unbearable. I eventually apologized to Cass, expressing my intention to be more open-minded and receptive to her feelings. Over time, she gradually began to share her experiences again. The conflicts between Cass and X intensified, occurring almost daily, which I found exhausting, and I could not comprehend how she managed to endure it. At long last, they separated. Cass learned that X had cheated on her multiple times, as several girls reached out to inform her, which understandably devastated her. My mom and I supported her through this tough time, and my cousins were also very helpful, particularly one cousin named Chris. Following this breakup, Cass and I became much closer. We would spend time together often, leaving our doors open for spontaneous visits, and could talk about anything and everything. We enjoyed drinks, danced, and conversed. It felt like we were healing our inner children. I would like to think it benefited her too, but perhaps it was more about my own healing. Along with Chris and our other cousins, we began to spend significantly more time together. Being a close-knit family, it was wonderful to see Cass reconnect with us. My cousins even commented on this positive change. Chris's husband and X used to be best friends, creating some tension during family gatherings. Cass would often get intoxicated at these events and vent her anger toward Chris and her husband, threatening them if they ever hung out with X again. Cass struggles with managing her anger, resulting in some intense confrontations. Nevertheless, We all tended to overlook this behavior because we cared deeply for her, particularly Chris. Fast forward 5 or 6 months after Cass's breakup, one morning, my mom texted me to say that Cass was on her way to meet X to discuss their relationship. I felt immediate rage. However, Cass texted me, asking for my trust, which I reluctantly gave her for the first time in a long while. Our family members also received her location, leading to several texts from different relatives inquiring about the situation. Being a close-knit family, we often check up on one another. Chris reached out to me, confused about what was happening, and I told her to stay out of it, despite disliking having to say that I was doing it for my sister. It turned out they ended up at a hotel together, deciding to give their relationship another chance, which shifted the dynamics for our entire family since we were all aware of the dramas and toxicity of their history. It was genuinely heartbreaking to witness Cass return to X after everything that had transpired. I did not speak to her for a few weeks, and we closed our doors, ceasing to have dinner together. We worked together in the office, just the two of us, and hardly exchanged words except regarding work matters. Chris and I, alongside some cousins, discussed the situation among ourselves, struggling to comprehend Cass's actions. We attempted to communicate, but recalling everything she had been through weighed heavily on us. Chris ultimately decided to cut ties with Cass, who believed she owed no one an explanation for her choices. At a family gathering, Cass attempted to bring up the situation, but I intervened, unwilling to let her address this while consuming alcohol. During the event, she surprised Chris by acting completely unfazed about the entire matter, trying to act friendly. It felt disingenuous to me, and I was shocked by the lack of sincerity. I was aware Chris was playing along because, 1, it was a family celebration, and 2, I was preparing to move out of state the following week and did not want any additional drama before my departure. After that gathering, it felt as though things returned to normal, but Cass could not understand why Chris was still giving her the silent treatment. It was the weekend of my farewell party when I spoke with Cass, genuinely attempting to connect with her heart. We cried, laughed, and embraced. She promised she recognized her shortcomings, understood the error in rekindling her relationship with X, and acknowledged that she owed Chris both an explanation and an apology. However, the next day, it was as if none of our conversation had registered with her. I left the next Monday. Now it is March, and last month, Cass announced that she is pregnant with X's child and that they intend to marry soon. I cannot wrap my head around this development. I managed to offer her a half-hearted congratulations and have said very little since that moment. I still wish to support my sister and my soon-to-be nephew or niece, but I genuinely cannot accept this situation. Chris continues to avoid Cass, and her sister, my cousin and best friend, has also ceased communication with her. I have limited my interactions as well, only checking in on her well-being and inquiring about the progress of her pregnancy. My mom visited me and my husband, gossiping about the situation, while continuously supporting my sister, as she has longed for a grandchild. Although she despises X like the rest of us, she possesses a gentle nature and tends to overlook things. I confided in my mom about my discomfort with maintaining a genuine relationship with my sister given the insincerity surrounding the situation. She did not respond much and has remained quiet since, but I believe she understands my viewpoint. I feel hurt. I empathize with my sister, my cousins, and my mother. It is truly unfortunate. Am I the antagonist in this situation? Story 2. Am I the a-hole for taking back a wedding gift I promised to the bride and groom after overhearing a conversation? Hello, Reddit. Please excuse my lack of punctuation, grammar, or any editing mistakes I may have made. English is not my first language, and I am still learning. I am a 29-year-old female who has been part of a friend group consisting of 6 people, including a couple aged 30 and 31, since we all attended law school some time ago. We all reside in the same city and frequently socialize and go out for lunch together, which is always enjoyable. To be honest, I usually cover the expenses for our gatherings, as I earn more than double what the others do. When it comes to deciding on a restaurant, we typically opt for an upscale steakhouse that I absolutely adore. Among our friend group, I am the only person without children. I have the extra income, and I feel compelled to pick up the bill as it aligns with my cultural upbringing. My love language is gift-giving, and I tend to give extravagant presents for special occasions such as anniversaries, birthdays, promotions, baby showers, and especially weddings. I absolutely cherish weddings, and as generous as I am with my gifts, the couple in question loves to travel. However, due to the pandemic, inflation, and the arrival of a new baby, they have not been able to travel as much. When I was initially asked to be a bridesmaid, they requested my help in reviewing their budget and whether I had any connections that could assist them in cutting costs. Even with my assistance, they were still unable to afford a honeymoon after the wedding, or so I thought. As my wedding gift to them, I planned an all-expenses-paid trip to Japan for a week, covering airfare, accommodations, spending money, and a reputable babysitter for their 4-month-old. I presented them with this gift, and they were overjoyed, expressing immense gratitude. It was a truly heartwarming moment, and I felt fulfilled to do this for them. Detail to add: the airplane tickets and any other reservations were in my name until the week following their wedding, when I would transfer them over. I left an envelope containing the itinerary and all trip-related information on the gift table at the wedding venue. The day of the wedding arrived, and while the bride was preparing, she mentioned she had forgotten her veil in her car and asked if I could retrieve it. I agreed and went to get it. Upon my return, I found the door slightly ajar and overheard a conversation the bride was having regarding me. I stood outside and eavesdropped. She spoke to someone on the other end of the line, accusing me of being gullible and stating that she had tricked me into financing their honeymoon. She went on to count all the gifts they had received from me and planned how to extract even more expensive ones from me. To say I was devastated would be an understatement. I stood there for some time, feeling foolish and exploited. They took advantage of my kindness and affection for them, utilizing it for their selfish purposes. However, my sorrow soon transformed into anger. I entered the room and confronted the bride. She attempted to backtrack, but I told her to go away and that I was revoking my gift. She could forget about traveling to Japan. She tried to pursue me as I walked down the corridor and took the envelope from the gift table, calling me derogatory names as I left. It has been over 4 months since this incident, and when I shared it with my partner, she labeled me as immature, suggesting I could have quietly cut the couple out of my life rather than reacting harshly on the bride's wedding day. She implied that I may have ruined her wedding, and this would be a lasting memory for her. I have been feeling somewhat guilty about my response, so I am now turning to you, Reddit. Am I in the wrong for reclaiming my gift after overhearing the bride's conversation? A small piece of information. I later discovered that the person she was discussing me with on the phone was the groom. Update: when I posted this, I did not anticipate the response I would receive. I was hoping for maybe 2 people to give me insight to confirm that I was not losing my mind. 1. To those claiming the story is fabricated, I feel sorry for you. I apologize that my reality seems like fiction to you. 2. For those curious about why I was funding others' lifestyles, let me clarify. My friends and I used to dine at various restaurants, and each week we took turns selecting the location. Aware of their financial situations, I often covered the bill as I was not fond of many restaurants in my city, and the ones I preferred were pricier. 3. To those labeling me a sugar mama, I assure you I am not. I do not possess a savior complex. I simply come from a wealthy background and earn a good income in my profession. With just my wife and I, our expenses are minimal, allowing me to save considerably and have extra income. 4. For those suggesting I evaluate my wife, let me clarify. My wife is the most non-confrontational individual I've ever known. She would quietly distance herself from someone without offering an explanation. To be clear, she agreed with my reaction and believes it was appropriate, but would not have handled it this way herself. 5. Regarding my initial statement, I am not a native English speaker. Much of this is translated from my native language, leading to some word discrepancies. I did not put my name on the tickets. I purchased them and placed their names on the reservations. I regret that it did not translate correctly. Since it was charged to my credit card, I simply contacted the airline to cancel them. 6. For those inquiring about my other friends' opinions, the remaining 3 sided with me. They were somewhat upset that I didn't inform them on the wedding day, but they have completely severed ties with the couple in question. 7. Did I learn a lesson? Yes, indeed. Moving forward, I will be less generous with those around me. I was raised in a very giving household where we donated regularly to those in need, primarily through charities. I will now focus on self-love, develop a stronger backbone, and refrain from overspending on individuals who do not merit it. I intend to be more cautious and vigilant about potential signs of being used. 8. Thank you, Reddit, and to everyone who commented. I plan to delete Reddit from my phone, so I won't be able to respond to further comments. I hope I have addressed most of the inquiries. Thank you for all the kind words and personal stories from those who have experienced similar situations and how they overcame them. For those who labeled my post as fake simply because you find it hard to believe, kindly go away.